Hi, it's Friday. It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Together Unlocked, brought to you as always by Together 2012. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as Ju90. I'm the artistic director of Together 2012 CIC. And at the other end of our long wheeled virtual sofa is Robin Surgeonator, MBE. I'm going to come to Robin in a minute for some introductions and audio description, but you will see that there's just two of us today. No, we haven't got rid of our other presenters, although in fact Josh is not terribly well in the first place. They are delivering one of our film festival events. It's day 2 of our wonderful film festival. There is currently a session for filmmakers running on filming in the age of COVID-19, where the wonderful Vicky Rayford Sinnott, who was on this show from Little Cog quite recently, is talking about how she made Funny Peculiar with Bea Webster, Mandy Colleran, and Liz Carr. Mandy Colleran is also on that Zoom. We will be releasing the video of that over the weekend in the film festival programme for everybody to enjoy. So in the meantime, I am wearing, difficult to know exactly what kind of hat it is. How would you describe it, Robin, apart from being red, shiny, and from the pound shop?
I think it's a cross between a trilby and a pork pie.
Yeah, and I think probably in the factory where it was manufactured many miles away, they didn't know the difference between a trilby and a pork pie either. So thank you for that. I also have black plastic glasses hiding. Well, I have green eyes, but I'm not sure at this point in our festival you could see them for the bags, which is the other reason I have a hat on. Underneath it, I have a self-styled hennaed Corona crop, but that's not looking at its best either. So I have a black shirt on with a pattern of kind of creamy, pale yellow trumpets and, like I say, silver jewelry. Behind me, you can see a little bit of our graffiti banner that's covered with graffiti images of all of the arts activities we cover during the year, and of course, usually during the festival as well. So that's everything from visual arts and crafts, live music, photography, filmmaking, drama, dance, street art, carnival art, and much, much more. Also, you can see my little green. In fact, I shall adjust the camera a little bit more. We couldn't decide on Saturday whether this was a green Father Christmas or some kind of wintry troll, but it's working today as my teddy bear, and it's wearing the medal it won in the Clockwork Paralympics on Wednesday, where we were triumphant and not Birmingham 2022. Well, of course, I do have the ability to ramble all day because my co-presenter is, like I say, running the Zoom, but I won't. I will hand over to Robin Surgeonator and maybe just adjust my camera slightly again while you're speaking, Robin.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to winter. I mean, it certainly is wintry here, although thankfully the white fluffy stuff hasn't materialized. It's just thick rain. Well, I can do this, and if you could see how long my arms are, you'd know definitely that Josh wasn't here, else you'd have heard him yelp. So I am, yes, solo in the West Midlands Unlocked studio, whilst Josh is in the Studio B next door, doing the festival live stream.
Used
So,
to be his bedroom, but never mind.
well, yeah, studio bedroom B, come on. um, so today, yeah, as I said, I'm Robin Surgeon. I'm business director at Together 2012 and also an artist known as Angry Fish. And just to my final bit of my bow, also a former Paralympic swimmer and gold medalist. Today I have it seems to be getting shinier and shinier. I don't know what's going on. It must be a different position. I have almost golden white hair today, according to the lights, and it's golden and not red. See, um, and looking relaxed, I think would be what my hair is today. I have no rimmed black armed glasses, blue eyes, which again you may be able to see. Uh, I have a winter warming, unshaven look, and in terms of clothing, and what I am wearing to stay in, well, wearing to go out to stay in, I'm wearing a black round neck t-shirt, which is below a kind of bluey grey collared t-shirt, sweatshirt, sorry, which has got like duffel coat peg buttons on it. It's very posh, very nice. And I'm wearing this because I would be going, but I might have to make my own version of it, to a folk sing along, play along tonight, um, and specifically to indulge in some festive, non-alcoholic mulled wine. So that is what I'm going to do this evening, using it almost medicinally to keep the cold away. And
So nice.
it does. I'm actually feeling that now. Big
Good, and for anybody who's new to the show, we dress up to go out to stay in on a Friday. We took this idea from New Zealand back in April, and look how well it worked for them, where the New Zealanders were dressing very formally on Friday nights to stay at home. We don't dress very formally to go out when we do go out, but we thought it was a great idea. So we dress up to go out to stay in, and maybe it's something we're going to do online, or maybe it's something we'd like to do, or maybe like going to the moon to have tea. It's entirely made up. But we'd love to see your dressing up to go out to stay in outfits, particularly if you are doing anything festive over the rest of the festival. My outfit is so I can go to a sort of seasonal night at a jazz club. Might get into Ronnie Scott's, not sure. The shirt, like I say, is covered with trumpets. It's actually silk and made by somebody posh, but of course arrived via the charity shop. So, but I thought not only would it be a lovely thing to do, all the things you can't do, late night in a dark, crowded place with everybody blowing into their musical instruments. It's going to be a while before I can do that in real life, even if they had blue badge parking, which chances are they don't have anyway. But spare a thought for this Christmas for all of those live musicians out there who haven't worked since March. Not sure why our picture keeps moving around of its own accord, but again, regular viewers will know we have had some difficulties with Be Live. I've just noticed that our caption service has paused. So apologies for anybody who can't even read the captions to know why. Like I say, we have been having technical problems with our provider for the last 10 days. So I'm glad to see that our captioner is now back. Julia, for some reason, again, this is all going to be live. Your mute hasn't been working, but I have just switched it over now. So apologies. Like I say, there are things beyond our control. And after 8 months of streaming, we know who to blame for most of them. And the rest is just down to Gremlins. So, like I say, we're coming to the end of week 4 of our Disability History Month festival, and we're on day 2 of our International Together Disability Film Festival, which is always a major highlight of the festival. So, we thought we would start today by talking some more about what's been happening over the last 24 hours, what else is coming up today, and what's coming up over the weekend. The way we usually run the festival is we have a 2-day intensive workshop for filmmakers on the Thursday and Friday daytime. And we just felt that was too much by Zoom. So, for example, we've had 2 days looking at audio description, we've had 2 days looking at film poems, we've had 2 days looking at animation, all sorts of different things. But what we decided we'd do this time round was try and look at what filmmakers needed, to be able to kind of change practices, cope, be flexible, find funding, and in many cases, if you've been shielding, starting again. So we started yesterday morning with some funding sessions from Arts Council England and the Film Fund. We may be putting the recording of the Film Fund up with their permission later. What the Arts Council say is that they have currently on Zoom, regular briefings, and they really encourage anybody who's looking for funding to come to one of those as a first start. There's also lots of information on the Arts Council's website, but the project fund is open and it's open for applications by individuals. Every year, the Arts Council fund individuals for the first time who've not had grant funding before. So if you haven't had a project funded, don't despair, but do, as a first step, look on the Arts Council's website and find those funding links.
What I would say, I mean, I found the workshop really useful. Just, and I've applied both successfully and unsuccessfully, historically. But even for someone who's, so with a history of a relationship with the Arts Council, I found it really interesting just to kind of as a revision about how they look at things, but then seeing it from the December 2020 perspective as opposed to the whatever it was, April 2017 or last time I applied. So it's kind of the same, but not. So there's just extra bits in there. And actually, I thought that the kind of the supporting information really has got clearer. I think the one area, and anyone who is thinking of applying to the Arts Council, they have, which didn't really get talked about yesterday, but is something called Grantium. It was mentioned, but Grantium is a system they use to get you registered as a possible applicant. So what happens is you can't actually do anything until you register as an applicant, and that means you have to go to the Arts Council website, and maybe we will need to put a link if we haven't got one on this. Find the Grantium bit, and then find the bit that says create user profile, and then from there you go in and they'll ask you various questions. You have to give personal details in the sense of date of birth, bank, some basic bank details, because this is the point that if you are successful, they will then pay you through. So what they do is make sure that they are paying a real person into a real bank account. So you do all these forms and it's all online, but you do it all online, and then that goes away to be verified. You kind of send submit, and then some point in the next week, hopefully you get a message back that says your user account has been verified, and then you can go on and do it. And then it will, at the first point, ask you to give it a project name. Everything can ultimately be changed, but just come up if you've got a really vague idea. So it is fly to the moon to see the Clangers video 2020. Put that in as your title. Doesn't mean it's what you're going to do. But I think it's really important that all the stuff that was, or the majority of the stuff yesterday, was how you deal with once you're at the application stage, but you can't get to that. So yeah, really top tip for me is don't think, oh, I'm ready to go now. Let me get my portal registered and then think about what I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. And I hadn't taken on board till yesterday that, because I always looked at it and thinking, oh, for goodness sake, it takes so long. And it hadn't occurred to me that, of course, people could quite easily set up fraudulent applications and just disappear with the cash. I think they'd find it quite challenging given the level of detail you've got to provide. By the time you'd created an entire fictional project with a total timeline, cash flow projections, and everything else, you might as well be working as an artist. But I kind of get the point. you know, and yeah, that was definitely clearer. Were you able to stay for the film fund session? I can't remember.
I saw bits, it was on, but I was kind of in and out, so I left it running, and yeah, I've got some notes on things that, I would, 'cause I think for me also that kind of, um, making the distinction between Arts Council will fund films about art and the making of art, as opposed to straight films that tell stories. I'm still at that little bit unclear about that, but so for example, I want to make a film. I have a short story, um, but it is a story. That's, it's not a story about making something, or a story, it's not a documentary. It is just a novella, or whatever you want, a short play that I would love to get filmed. I'm not
Well,
quite
you
sure.
know what? I've got, and very timely because I can hear my son packing up already. Like, we have our virtual writer in residence, Penny Pepper, with us. Penny, can you give me a wave if you're ready to join us? She is. So we're talking about applying for Arts Council funding at the moment.
Hi, Penny.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm incredibly busy. But yes, I wanted to join you today because Together's always been so supportive to me, and I love joining in when time and health allows. So here I am. We had snow in Hastings. Anyone else have snow?
Got my windows closed, curtains shut. I don't want to know.
Oh, don't blame
Yeah,
you.
but they've had it in Essex and Kent.
Don't blame you. So have I just interrupted half stream sort of thing? So
Well, just talking about yesterday's Arts Council funding sessions and the issues around getting Arts Council funding, but also I know you're doing Penny on the telly on Monday. So as you've been able to pop in, I thought you could tell us about that as well.
yes, in fact, there is a connection in that my project, the Naked Punk project, which has been running for just over a year, did suffer terribly because of lockdown. Because I had some performances spaced out through the year and talking events. So all that really just went. And we did readjust. And one thing I will say is never be scared of talking to the Arts Council, because many of them are very nice.
Penny, can I just ask you, it could be our provider reply, but not sure whether it's the speaker feeding back. Robin?
I'm not getting feedback, but your sound is doing what it's been doing all week and clipping.
I'm not getting anything.
Oh,
Well, actually, I can hear myself on somebody else's speaker coming through the stream, but it isn't mine. Hello?
keep speaking, Penny.
Okay, I'll keep speaking, but I can definitely hear myself on someone else on that stream.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's our ghost echo. So let's just do our best, and if necessary, we'll get Robin to talk because the sound's working.
Yeah, mine's good. I mean, I'm not quite sure where you're picking up yourself from. I mean, but it's just been really strange all week. The delays. So almost if you're hearing yourself at all, there's kind of delays going on. I mean, I'd agree actually. I mean, what you was just to pick up what you're saying is about people say, oh, they're worried about speaking to the Arts Council. Actually, I mean, at an individual level, I've never had any kind of negative experiences. I mean, the outcomes haven't necessarily been what you want, but in terms of the actual experiences, and indeed, on when I did the Y Festival, I needed to apply for variation of grant, and it wasn't huge, but it was just like, you've told us, tar. Literally, I didn't have to. I went, I need to tell you this, and they went, okay, cheers, bye. Oh,
Yeah, I think Penny will be back in a sec. And in fact, what I'm going to do, Robin, is pop you on the screen on your phone for a minute to keep talking about that.
okay. Yeah, so just to carry on, really talking about kind of potential Arts Council funding, and not necessarily for film, but it's not a process to be afraid of. In many ways, it's a really, really helpful process, because it makes you have to have all the information that you need to run a project. You have to have a working budget, you have to have a timeline, and it does depend on how much you're looking for. So if you're looking for a project grant below £15,000, then there are less questions, and a lot less detail is required. And when you go over that 15,000, it does, kind of, it ramps up kind of what they ask for. But then, it is public money, and I think that's fair enough, because we don't want the money to be well, nobody wants the money wasted. But then, as I was saying, I think it is a really, really helpful process. And again, anyone who either has experience and always found it really, really annoying to fill the forms in, and because you do it and you want to make a change and you can't, what Ju and I will both tell you from experience is actually write your answers in a Word file or something like that. And then once you're absolutely happy with your answer, paste it in. And you can do that, and it can still be taken out again and changed, but it's a much that the way the form works is trying to edit within it is kind of difficult. But yeah, you do it all on, so do it in a Word document or something similar, some other processing document. And also, if kind of filling forms in and putting information together is something that you struggle with because of an impairment issue, you can actually, prior to an application, even prior to Grantium, actually approach an organization like Together 2012, and or directly to the Arts Council, but say, actually, you really want to do, you're an artist and you want to submit, but you need access assistance to do that. And if they like your project idea, then they can actually also fund an access worker, support worker, facilitator, whatever name you kind of want to give it. And so it's really helpful.
Yeah, I think the not that this has helped my sound. I think the Together 2012 is a good suggestion, because sometimes you don't know how to approach the Arts Council for the funding. And, if you've got a local disability arts organisation, or indeed come to a professional development club, you can do at the moment from anywhere, then of course we can help with that. I don't know why our picture's coming and going, but again, it's nothing to do with us. Our guest has been temporarily dumped off. There's probably not a lot we can do, even if we restarted the stream, because all of these problems are being caused by other people. Did you come to Justin's event? You didn't, did you, Robin?
I didn't, but I watched. I wasn't able to because I was back at work in the other work that I do, the coaching. We'll come back to that later if we need to find something else to chat about. But I because I knew Justin a long time ago, and actually the images that were used to kind of advertise and market the reasonable adjustment exhibition, I found really really like exciting and to look at, and I'm like, I've got to go and look at this.
Yeah, let's talk more about that in a minute. What I suggest is we just put the film on to tell you more about how you can join in from home outside of the festival.
Sorry, I'm I didn't quite catch that. Yeah, let's watch the film. Okay, so any viewers, I'm going to come in at this point. believing that the video has stopped as well. So we really do have the digital gremlins this afternoon. So absolute apologies from us, even though it's kind of completely out of our control. Doesn't make it any better for you, the viewer or listener.
Well, I try again, Robin.
Yeah, Ju's going to just try running that video again and see what happens.
Running a Join In From Home programme from our website, together2012.org.uk. Click on the link at the top of the page, Join In From Home, to go straight to the main page where you have a wide range of accessible, inclusive creative activities, mostly using things that you would already have at home. At the top of the page and throughout the pages, you will also see videos in British Sign Language to translate the site for deaf people. These videos can also be useful if you have difficulties reading and you simply want to hear more of the content. The Join In From Home programme is based on the activities that we would usually be running in East London. So, for example, we have an arts club which usually operates on a Tuesday with craft-based activities and on a Friday morning for drawing and painting. Here you can join in with the arts club's Hands project and celebrate your uniqueness and membership of the human race. There are full instructions on the linked page here. But essentially, we invite you to draw around your hand on a piece of card. It could be an old cereal packet. Cut the shape out, turn it over, and decorate it with anything you would like to do. It could be paints, crayons, glitter, collage, beads, leaves, anything you can think of. Photograph your hand or hands and send it to us at tv@together2012.org.uk. We'll add it to our video installation and share it on social media. Our music club usually meets on the first Friday of each month. We have an open mic session and we invite everybody to play along with percussion instruments. So here you can learn how to make your own percussion instruments from recycled materials. And you can also join in a percussion workshop from last summer in terms of carnival percussion. So these three instruments are used most often in carnival. We have a shaker and a go-go and a hand drum. So this is how to make a recycled shaker, a recycled go-go, and a recycled hand drum. You can also, if you're technically minded, make your own tactile sound instrument. This does require a few simple electronics, but is a very interesting and exciting project as part of our Vibrafusion ongoing work. You can also listen with Together. We have Spotify playlists created by Robin Surgeonator, also known as our TV presenter Angry Fish, and we also have 2 classical music playlists from Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, including one that's uniquely suited to people who are feeling very unwell.
Hello.
Hello. I don't expect my sound is going to work for very long, but we have the lovely Penny Pepper waiting to rejoin us as well. What I suggest is I give you a very quick run through on the rest of the film festival, and then I will hand over to Penny, keeping my fingers crossed about her sound, and Robin, and then we will play out as usual on a Friday with a song from Robin. Right, so tonight the film festival kicks off its first film screenings. We've got a wonderful programme called Powerful Women. That includes The Knitting Circle, directed by Julie McNamara, Faith, directed by Sahira Khan, and of course Funny Peculiar, directed by Vicky Rayford Sinnott. We've also got Triple Oppression by Vilma Jackson and Deborah Caulfield's new work. So that's a really great feature-length evening. So we've got 2 longer short films and 3 shorter ones. Tomorrow morning and indeed on Sunday, we kick off on at 1 o'clock with half an hour of animation. Tomorrow, that is followed just at 1:30. That is followed by the UK premiere, well, in fact, the world premiere of Steph Castellet's Living in Fear. Steph has filmed this film entirely in isolation herself, and it's the first film to expose what's happened to disabled people in the UK during COVID-19. We then move on to a live event at 3:15, where Sign Dance Collective International will be introducing the films in their Time project, which is the participatory part of their In Between Spaces project. And then we come back to an hour of dance, an hour of short dramas, and in the evening at 7 o'clock, a wonderful program of films about feisty disabled people who are perhaps not behaving very well and certainly not fitting the saintly stereotypes. On Sunday, like I say, we start again with half an hour of animation, and then we have a series of short documentaries, We Are Deaf and Disabled People, and that includes Robin's own film, which he will talk a little bit in the moment about the process of making. Sunday's live event, Shadowlight Artists, whose exhibition Luminous was launched online as part of our launch event, will be talking again about the film-based work in this multimedia exhibition. Shadowlight artists are great favourites. They're artists with learning difficulties who are facilitated by Film Oxford. The event has already got a great deal of interest. So just to add, for all of our live events, you can watch them in two different ways. You can book a free Zoom ticket and then you can join in. You will also have a better view of the sign language interpreter. Or you can watch on YouTube. Our stream, unsurprisingly, is Together 2012 CIC, and we embed that stream at the top of the festival programme and on the relevant event page. So the Luminous event will be, for example, not just on the film festival programme page, but on their own exhibition page. And then Sunday evening, we finish with, yes, another two premieres, but the main event is the film Clouds, which is an hour and a half feature film in the style, well, not in the style of, but in the sort of the school of films like About a Boy. That's entirely self-funded. More than half of the crew are disabled, as well as the subject, which is, again, it's, I don't think we say black comedy, but it's a comedy drama. It's a little bit naughty, it's a little bit hard hitting, and it's very enjoyable. And we finish the festival with Fire, again is a premiere from Chaz de Sweet. And that's actually an art film which is documenting, again, a wonderful thing for us all to fantasize about, being in some woods for our mental health and well-being with fire and performances and artists. It's a very nice, gentle film, and we just felt it was a lovely way to end the festival with the premiere of that. We will tell you about next week's programme on Monday on Together Unlocked. But now, given my dodgy sound, I'm going to say I look forward to seeing you. Well, I won't see you. I look forward to you enjoying the films for the rest of the weekend. And, please do join us if you can at 3 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday for the live events. So I'm going to first bring Penny on and see how her sound is working now.
Hear me?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, that's good. I'm glad. So I was just briefly wanted to say about the Arts Council. I've done many Arts Council applications, and it's really good to learn if you don't get it first time. Really learn from why, because it's not like a business. It's not like you're in a competition. I'm sure you'd agree,
Yeah.
Robin. It's about actually getting it what it's meant to be. So a lot of the so-called negatives are to do with that. You're not. It's not like you've got to make money and then you're giving it back to an investor. If you do make money, it's great, but it's more about you fulfilling the creative practice, and it's good to keep that in your head. So I'm having to. I did speak to them. I've had to juggle the end of my current grant, and I'm doing this event. I know Ju wanted me to talk about it. It's called Penny on the Telly, and you will find it through my Facebook Penny Pepper Writer page, and on YouTube in partnership with Disability Arts Online. And I believe it's going to my own YouTube channel. So it's streaming live. It's 75 minutes. There's me doing a lot of my work and sharing the work of the lovely Jo Cox, doing a cello piece. I'm being interviewed by the best-selling novelist Jake Arnott, who's also a very long-term ally of the disabled rights movement. And I'm absolute privilege that Liz Carr has filmed a monologue. I hope maybe Ju will put it in next year's festival, but it's a 12-minute film of Liz who portrays Nicola at the very beginning of the independent living movement, and it's a great performance. Just Liz, when we did a read through, Liz made me cry because it was so powerful. So I do hope everyone will join me on that event, 7 p.m. on Monday the 7th. Just Google it. But I'll do a quick poem for you. I noticed that the background noise has gone, so I think we should just say it was Ju.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a couple. I'll do one that's a bit more funny, and then I will do. I don't know. I was trying to find some new bits and pieces. This first one's about the bittersweet experience of being in love with someone who you know you shouldn't, and it's called At the Boundaries. If you are a drama like the sea, angry risk and shipwrecking, now is the time for drifting, sad, slow, descending, calm waves between us, lapping at the boundaries that are there uncertain through the tumult of waves and all things. I cling to my rock, the unbending surface of safe certainty, the rigid cracks of my heart. Would I be your island, the roots you would cling to in fierce non-acceptance, not unconditioned, but solid as truth? Somewhere in this world, within the maze of struggle, must give me this. And who would take up the awful, marvellous challenge to fill me with life and love, as if for the first time? It is not in my being to disbelieve love. Let the circle turn, join and complete. As we all yearn to our natures, I will not disabuse the depth of belief. Thank you.
Wow.
And the next one is like a scratch, if you like. It's a work in progress. And if Ju's not there now, is she? But I would have liked to have challenged her to give me a rhyme for the end. Oh, there you are, Ju. Right, we can have a little competition here. This is a scratch piece. It's called Since 50 Shades. And the end isn't finished because I need to do another end line. So, since 50, toes cold grumble, lost my slippers. Since 50, no pink saucers or sherbet dippers. Since 50, look askance at Johnny Rotten. That butter advert, not forgotten. Since 50, hair's insistent on my cheek. Can't get an eyebrow right on fleek. Since the 50, I choose big, easy pants and give in to all my favourite rants. Since 50, my parts try hard but quickly sleepy. My language ripens, is very bleepy. Since 50, still true-hearted, still true hearted. And now, where do I end at? How? That's the last line. I can't believe I haven't finished the last line. So,
Give me
since
the last
50,
one
still
again.
true punk-hearted, I can say something like, but fire and anger.
I think something like wholehearted needs to be the last word, and if necessary, rewrite the line before.
Maybe.
I just feel like
You feel
something
wholehearted would be good, would you?
Or I mean, otherwise, it depends on which way you go, because you could go departed as well. You could have
Yeah, not dead yet and not departed.
When I was 50, it was 2012.
That might be it.
My father died when he was 50. So part of it was just feeling like every other year was a bonus, but it was also that sense of, is it my last year? You know, because yes, we won't go into all of that kind of thing. But anyway, I
Yeah.
wasn't,
Although,
I had a
yeah,
lot of uncertainty. So one of the things I did to be 50 was think, all right, I'm going to take some time out. I'm going to share my producing skills. I did Together 2012. I did Folk in Motion. That was my 12 months. So what I would say is, since 50, all sorts of things have happened that weren't
but you
in
know,
plan.
the other irony I might have, because I was 60 in August. So
I remember.
I'm trying to develop that along actually a bit. It's not that the poem's that old. It might
It
change.
doesn't sound old. It sounds very fresh.
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
needs to
thinking
be. It needs to be maybe. I'll call it way past 50. That's more accurate.
or 60 is the new 40.
Maybe.
nearly
But
50 anymore.
Well,
yeah, I do hope to be doing some more new and exclusive work on Monday. And just a quick plug, if anyone out there's a reader of Mislexia, do you know that magazine, Ju? I'm in the current issue with a short story. I'm very proud of it, and it's called Mrs. Joseph Merrick. So
can't wait.
they have a little section, a little slot that's called The World's Wife. And so I sent a piece in, I did a submission, and they were lovely and said we had a few, but yours just outshone. And it's about Joseph Merrick having a wife. And it is, obviously it's fiction, but I wanted to weave that. It's one of the things I love to do, is to weave fiction and fact together. And I have a personal campaign, because I'm obsessed with Victorian era as well, to make John Merrick, or Joseph Merrick, that's an error, he's a Joseph, to make Joseph Merrick human again, three-dimensionally human. He is in my next novel, and that is now, just put some vibes out for me, gang. It's with 10 publishers as we speak, who are all reading it. So I can't really cross my fingers, but I need everyone out there to metaphorically, thank you, Robin. I need you to metaphorically cross your fingers. And in my 60th year, at least I got an agent, and I've got my novel with 10 publishers who are reading it very slowly.
Well, they always say it doesn't kick off for women till 60, and there's lots of examples. If my sound holds out, I will just plug that we have a highlights and links page directly under the main Together Unlocked TV page. We'll put all the highlights and links up, including Penny on the telly, and we'll also be reminding you about that on Monday afternoon's show and putting it in the Monday highlights and links as well. That's absolutely brilliant, Pen. I mean, I know our very own chair, Julie Newman, who's currently running the Zoom, was forcibly retired by the DWP at 60 because if you're on benefits, you get forcibly retired as soon as you hit pension age. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
get to retire till I'm 67 anyway, but she was forced to at 60. At 70, she's
Well,
doing
I
everything.
feel
Oh, sorry, let me
I
just
feel
finish.
lucky that
Yeah, she finished at 70. And then at 73 this year, she's come right back out of retirement and is working full time again, mostly unpaid because of the pandemic. But then you look across the ocean and you think, well, we've got a 78-year-old president coming in. So I think 60 sounds positively juvenile.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, Ju. I quite like being 60 because they told my mum I'd die at 20. So, it's the same old rubbish. And no, I was just going to say on the benefits issue there, I'm so fortunate and I do try and own this and feel proud of myself that I've been self-employed for 11 years. So I think I can carry on working as a freelance as long as I have breath, because I'm not on any benefits other than a bit of tax credits, working tax credits, and PIP.
Yeah, I feel like
And
women your age
it's very
have
precious to me.
disappeared.
Say that again, Ju?
Yeah, I think, well, our age, I know you're 2 years older, so it's a slightly different thing. But I feel every time our pension gets a bit closer, they move the goalposts again. So it's like at the moment it's six. For so long it was 60. And
Yeah.
that was another thing. At age 50, you think, well, I've only got 10 years till I retire. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, it's 67, but it might be 68, it might be 69, it might even be 70. And all that time you think, well, I never want to stop working. But there is, yes, I think there's something to be said for not having to play with universal credit authorities and all of us who've been self-employed for a long time on tax credit to kind of hoping to keep those historical protections. But again, of course, it's not the same if you're younger. So I just, while my microphone's working, like to give another plug to say our trade union sessions from this morning will be up certainly by Monday, and they are well worth looking at. There's equity for everything in front of the camera and Bec2 for everything behind. We had fantastic speakers.
I've got to dash, Ju. I'm actually doing something else in like 8 minutes. That's an appointment. So I know.
It's been lovely to see you.
Thank
Penny
you
Pepper.
so much. And will you tell Julie that I've got a film of my bird feeder at last. So I would love to share that with you one day.
I would love to see it next week, or well, whenever you've got time, because that
maybe next week. But I can't remember. I am doing the party. When is that, Ju?
Yes, I will give a quick plug now. We said we'd talk about next week, but next Thursday you will be able to see Penny Pepper at our end of festival party. And as we described earlier, you can either book Zoom tickets or simply on the web.
I'm looking forward to it, everyone. I'm going to have that.
Cheers, Pen.
Bye. See you all soon.
See
Thank you. You are a star for a meal.
Well, that was a brief but welcome return from Penny. So thank you. That was fabulous. And it's good to see her sounding and looking so well.
And, if anyone pops to pop another let us know. Robin.
Okay. So I have got a few minutes left. Drew said earlier to talk a little bit about the film festival this weekend and my submission. I mean, I don't want to give too much away. If I talk about it, it'll probably talk longer than the film lasts. But for those of you who have been following this show, and I kind of, so months and months goes like, oh my golly, how do you make a film? I don't know how to write a film. I've never, I've written plays, but it's a film and you have to make pictures and blah, blah. And I kind of, I didn't panic, but I was, for someone who is normally very confident, in my art and what I do. It was kind of like, oh, okay, how do I do this? Where do I go with it? And then I think in this instance, I took up the idea of creating a film about home, which is what Ju and Together had asked for submissions on. I don't know how many films you have got on home, but I thought, well, I thought about it for a long time, and I thought, well, okay, we've already seen videos of our house on the show on the highlights and links page, so it's, I just don't. I'm not trying to sell the house, so I don't. It's so. What do I want it to be about home? And I thought a lot about it, and I thought, well, okay, I want to present something that is about what makes me feel comfortable, because where I am, when I feel comfortable, when I feel free to be myself, to me, that is when I'm feeling at home. Um, and naturally and thankfully, where the house where I live in does provide that in many, many ways. But it's not particularly the house that provides it, but the people who I live with in the house and the things that I can do in the house. Um, and also, I mean, the film is called H2O, so it's kind of written like H2O as in water, but then with ME, so it spells home with a 2 in it. So, because being an artist, I thought that was really clever. But the reason being is that as a swimmer, and not even as a Paralympic swimmer, but as someone who has their whole life found being in water a much, much easier place to be. I mean, being able to swim is kind of essential, but but actually the both in terms, I could swim like many other people have actually been on the show. I could swim before I could walk, mainly because I've always been crap at walking and couldn't do so till I was nearly 5. But excuse me. But water, so it's always given me this. And then as a child, I lived, lucky enough, I believe, to have lived abroad in a hot country where we swam every day. It was just what you did. You came home from school and went to the beach. And so it kind of, I just grew up and so, and it was where for me, because I was a good swimmer, any kind of it leveled out. I couldn't play football, but I could beat most of my mates from the beach to the diving raft that was 200 yards out in the bay or whatever it was. So I wanted to bring that in, and then I'm giving the whole film away, but it also, from a pain, comfort, release stuff, it's really, really important to me. And on that note, I've just looked at the time, having rabbited there, to say it is time for me to pick up my guitar. So I'll do that while I speak. And say, do enjoy the rest of the weekend. Please come to as much of the festival as you can. My film's only 5 minutes and 39 seconds long, so don't worry too much if it's really not that great. But I'm sure that afterwards, if there's anything interesting in it, we can talk about that in the show and how we did it. So I will just find my lyrics, which are over here. And
I would say goodbye from London.
okay, brilliant. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody, and see you Monday. So this song is called Petals and Bows. Take that label and rip it away from me. Blow down those barriers and give me liberty. It's good to know that happiness is for me, that I can smile and laugh without feeling guilty. It's good to know that happiness is for me, that I can smile and laugh without feeling guilty. It's so important, no matter who you are, to live and love and play and cry, to do all the things you wanna do before you die. So grab your life by the scruff of who you are. Throw out your doldrums and your blues. Grasp your future, tied with all your might. Look in the mirror and see who is really you. Cover yourself with petals and bows. Present yourself as a gift to the world. Search inside your mind for the key to set you free. 'Cause in your mind you're not defined. Each and every one of us has so much to give, so much potential, so much life to live. Go show that you're determined. Go show that you've got some fight. Go show that you mean business. Go exercise your rights. Go show that you mean business. Go exercise your rights. Cover yourself with petals and bows. Present yourself as a gift to the world. Search inside your mind for the key to set you free. 'Cause in your mind you're not defined. Have a great weekend, enjoy the festival, and I will see you Monday.